This album also marked this being the final album for bassist Cliff Burton, who would later last September pass away in a tragic bus accident while the band was on tour.
A few
in
months
Sweden.
after that, he died. Yeah, Sweden.
Yeah, September 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Much of the album's sophisticated sound is owed to him, as Cliff introduces the band to classical music theory, and complex harmonies. Tracks like Orion and the title track featured his lead bass style. Let me ask you a question, Eddie. How do you think his absence changed the DNA from Metallica songwriting on albums after this, like just roll on?
He was a big part of their songwriting. If you read Joe McIver's book, Justice for All the Truth About Metallica, he really just hammers and expresses how much of the songwriting he was. They're all very good musicians, but he had a different ear because they were big metal guys and came from punk and metal, but he liked other styles of music.
Yeah.
Well known. He was a huge REM fan.
He was ZZ Top fan too, also ZZ Top as well.
Yeah, and he was also a big fan of fuck his name, famous jazz bass player. But anyway,
is it Pastorius?
No, it was. I was going to say Marcus Miller, but I don't think it was Marcus Miller. I think it was someone else. But
okay,
he talks about that. Stanley Clark. That's it. Stanley Clark.
Right. You're right. Yep.
But he, the way that REM approached songwriting, changed him because it they had more formulaic songwriting, but it was still pretty loose. At least in the early albums they did.
Right.
And that's something he brought to them. He had them like that. He gave them homework. He says, "Listen to these bands." So he always helped He always helped the composition of the songs come together, and he always found the way to create space. When you listen to a lot of jazz, you always find the way to create space, and a lot of improvisation more than likely occurred in the practice space when they were writing their albums. Because instead of being, you saw some kind of monster. I watched it with you.
Yeah, we watched the theaters together, you and I.
Yeah, it's about them putting together riffs and just playing off a riff and trying to put it together. I mean, Cliff just had that ear. It's like no, this isn't working, start over. This is what needs to be here. This is how these riffs are going to come together. These are how these parts are going to come together. And I absolutely think that had a huge impact on it. I mean, the album they recorded afterwards, and Justice for All, is fucking phenomenal.
It's my favorite album of theirs, but it's not definitely right.
No, it's missing. Obviously, the joke is, it's missing a bass player. But the sad thing is, I think there would have been more space because there's a ton of riffs on that record. I think he would have told him to pull it back. Who's to say some of those riffs he could have pulled back, could have been Black Album type riffs or whatnot. But yeah.
Well, a lot of people argue that album was also made because that was part of the hazing process of Jason, and they were still grieving. They're still grieving Cliff's loss.
You can't underestimate grief. You can't take grief and think it doesn't happen. And everyone grieves differently. In this case, it was 3 people grieving differently, plus whoever was around Metallica, the Cliff Bernstein, the manager, several people that were working with the band. That it was a circle was kind of and Jason was a fan that all of a sudden got to be in the band, and it changed a lot.